One of Pokemon's most central mechanics is battling, although for some reason there's a handful of Pokemon that just cannot attack. One of which is Cosmog, only learning Splash and Teleport via level up. Teleport just takes the user out of battle, and Splash iconically does nothing. Despite the predicament, there might be a few ways that Cosmog might be able to attack. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this, but anyways, let's get right into it. Let's go back in time to Cosmog's debut game of Pokemon Sun and Moon and look at Z moves. Strangely enough, Splash and Teleport turn into Z Splash and Z Teleport. Besides the stupid names, they really don't do that much. Z Teleport works exactly like Teleport, except it also fully heals the user's HP. And Z Splash raises the user's attack stat by 3 times, which is pretty good, but not for the Z move category. The main thing to take from this is that they don't do any damage. What about in Pokemon Sword and Shield, where you could Dynamax a Cosmog? Well, unfortunately, upon Dynamaxing, Splash and Teleport both turn into Max Guard. Before we move on to the next part of things that we can do, I'm gonna introduce something new. Cosmog's evolution, Cosmoem. Compared to its pre-evolution Cosmog, it actually has really good defensive stats. Although, on top of it being statistically better, it gets one more new thing, being a new move, Cosmic Power. This attack is of course a status attack which doesn't do any damage, although it raises the user's defensive stats. Now, I'm gonna kind of repeat the whole spiel again by talking about Z Cosmic Power. This stupidly named move works exactly like Cosmic Power, although it adds an extra +1 special defense. And upon Dynamaxing, Cosmic Power just turns into Max Guard like the other moves. We've discussed everything about the moves they learn, although we haven't yet talked about held items. There are 2 items I want to talk about, and one of them is the Rocky Helmet. This held item deals damage to any opponent that makes contact with the holder. Although this item will only damage the opponent if the move's animation visually shows it making contact with the holder. The other item I want to talk about is the Sticky Barb, which just damages the holder every turn. Now, before you call me stupid, every time the holder makes contact with an opponent, the Sticky Barb will go onto the opponent. Of course, this will only happen if the Pokemon it makes contact with is not currently holding a held item. Now, there are other held items that could do something, but I'm pretty sure that these ones are the best. Cosmog only gets one ability, and that's Unaware. This ability makes the user ignore the opponent's stat changes. This sucks for Cosmog, although Cosmoem does have a different ability. This Pokemon has Sturdy, which basically allows it to survive any hit with 1 HP that would usually kill it. This doesn't help at all, but what if we expand and look at other Pokemon's abilities? If you go into a double battle and make your opponent use the move Skill Swap on your teammate, you could give Cosmog an ability like Aftermath. Aftermath is an ability that makes the user inflict damage onto the target once it faints. And if we swapped out Aftermath for an ability like Iron Barbs, which works the exact same as a Rocky Helmet but in ability form, an opponent that only has physical moves could be damaged pretty badly. Especially if it's given to Cosmoem and not Cosmog because of its monstrous defense stat. And before you say that I didn't get to Rough Skin, I'm just skipping it because it's a clone to Iron Barbs. Now, I thought that I covered everything until I got into a battle with Obstagoon for an extra clip, and then this happened. That's right, a person who only posted about Pokemon for the last 2 years completely forgot about Struggle. Now, to get to Struggle, you have to lose all your PP in your moves, and with a move like Teleport, it would take a while. Although what you just seen in that clip shows that there's another option, the move Taunt. The move Taunt disables all status moves that the target has. And with Cosmog having 3 moves, you basically have to use Taunt to get it to use Struggle. But that's it, right there, Cosmog does definitive damage to the opponent. No complex strategies involved, no held items, nothing, just straight up damage. Although I wouldn't call this their best attacking strategy because Struggle just kills the user in like 3 or 4 turns. Remember how I said that Iron Barbs was a clone to the Rocky Helmet just in ability form? Well, what if you were to skill swap Iron Barbs onto your Cosmog and give it a Rocky Helmet at the same time? This can allow for double the amount of damage to be done during a turn. And if we take it the extra mile and evolve Cosmog into Cosmoem, it's gonna be kind of a pain to kill. Thank you so much for watching the video, and even though Cosmog can do damage, I advise you not to use it. And once again, if you like these videos, make sure to subscribe because it helps me a ton and you get to know more information, even if the information is kind of useless. Anyways, goodbye.